The massive ship appeared in Earth's orbit on a Tuesday morning in October. One moment the skies were empty, and the next, a vessel larger than any human-made structure hung silently above the planet. It shimmered with a blue-silver light that made it look almost like water floating in space. Jack Wilson was having breakfast when his phone rang. As a diplomat who specialized in difficult negotiations, he was used to early calls, but not like this one. "Jack, it's Bill. You need to turn on your TV right now." Jack reached for the remote and clicked on the news. Every channel showed the same thing: the alien ship. He sat down hard on his couch, coffee forgotten in his hand. "They're asking for you," Bill said through the phone. "By name." 2 hours later, Jack sat in a secured room at the Pentagon. Around him were generals, scientists, and government officials, all talking over each other. On screens that covered the walls, the alien ship loomed. "How do they know who I am?" Jack asked. The room got quiet. A woman in a plain black suit stepped forward. "I'm Susan Miller, head of xenobiology at NASA. The alien sent a message with over 2,000 names. Yours was at the top of the list." The aliens called themselves the Galarians. They had been watching Earth for decades. They knew the planet's languages, its politics, and its people. And now they wanted to talk. "We've agreed to send a small team up to their ship," said General Eric Peters. His face was tight with worry. "You'll lead the diplomatic side, Wilson. Dr. Miller will handle the science. You leave in 6 hours." Jack looked at the serious faces around him. "And if I say no?" The president's voice came from a speaker in the center of the table. "Then we send someone else. But they asked for you, Jack. They say you're the human most likely to understand them." The shuttle that took them to the alien ship was military, stripped of weapons as a show of good faith. Besides Jack and Susan, there were 2 pilots and a Marine named Steve Harris who looked like he could break a man in half. "What do you think they want?" Susan asked as they flew toward the massive ship. Jack stared out the window. "Nobody gives something for nothing. That's the first rule of diplomacy." The inside of the Galarian ship was bright and airy, with curved walls that seemed to glow from within. The air smelled like cinnamon and sea salt. 3 aliens waited for them. The Galarians stood on 2 legs like humans, but were taller and thinner. Their skin was pale blue and slightly see-through, like thin ice. Where humans had hair, they had delicate tendrils that moved gently, as if underwater. Their faces had 2 large eyes with no pupils, a small mouth, but no visible nose. "Jack Wilson," said the middle alien. Its voice sounded musical, like several people singing the same note. "I am Zorl, speaker for the Galarian Confederation. We welcome you to our vessel." Jack stepped forward. "Thank you for your invitation. We're curious about why you've come to Earth." The alien made a gesture that might have been a smile. "To help, of course. We are 7 civilizations joined in peace and progress. We wish to welcome Earth as our newest friend." For the next 3 hours, the Galarians showed them wonders. They had medicines that could cure cancer, technology that could clean the air, and oceans engines that could take humans to distant stars. "All of these gifts we offer freely," said Zorl, its skin pulsing with bright colors. "We ask only for friendship in return." When they returned to the shuttle, Susan was excited. "Did you see their medical technology? We could save millions of lives." But Jack was quiet, thinking. Back on Earth, the United Nations called an emergency meeting. Representatives from every country gathered to discuss the alien offer. Jack stood before them, feeling the weight of his words. "The Galarians offer us miracles," he said. "But I recommend caution. No advanced civilization gives away its advantages without expecting something in return." The room erupted in arguments. Many nations wanted to accept the gifts immediately. Others shared Jack's concerns. In the days that followed, more alien ships arrived. The Proxians, who looked like walking crystals. The Aldevi, who seemed made of colored smoke. The Mech, who were part machine and part living creature. All brought gifts. All asked for nothing but friendship. World leaders began to split into 2 groups. Those who wanted to accept the alien technology and those who didn't. Military forces around the world went on alert just in case. 1 month after first contact, Jack was called back to the Galarian ship. This time he went alone. Zorl seemed different, its skin colors darker and slower. "We do not understand," the alien said. "We offer you the stars and you suspect us of tricks. We offer you health and clean energy and you check our gifts for traps. No other young species has been so difficult." Jack leaned forward. "That's exactly what worries us, Zorl. Why us? Why now? What makes humans so special that 4 advanced alien civilizations arrive all at once with free gifts?" The aliens' tendrils went still. "You are unique in our experience. Most species accept our help without question." "And what happens to them after they accept?" The alien was silent for a long moment. "They become part of the greater community." Jack stood up. "I think we're done for today." As he walked back to the shuttle, Jack's phone rang. It was Susan Miller. "Jack, I've been studying their medical technology. There's something strange about it. It works perfectly, but it only works with their other systems. If we start using it, we'd need to use all their technology. We'd be completely dependent on them." Jack looked back at the alien ship. "I thought so. Tell the president we need to talk. And Susan, be careful who you share this with. I don't think our visitors are being honest about their intentions." That night, military satellites detected unusual energy readings from all 4 alien ships. They were talking to each other, and they didn't want humans to know what they were saying. In a secured room deep under the Pentagon, President Gary Young met with his advisors. "So they're lying to us," he said. Jack nodded, "or at least not telling us everything. I recommend we continue to be polite but firm, accept no technology, allow no permanent bases on Earth. And meanwhile, we prepare." "Prepare for what?" asked the Secretary of Defense. Jack looked at the satellite images of the alien ships. "For what happens when they realize their usual approach isn't working on us. For what happens when they stop pretending to be our friends." Around the world, as word spread of the decision to reject the alien offers, people reacted with fear and anger. Protests broke out in major cities. Religious leaders declared the end times. But in secret meetings, the nations of Earth began to work together as never before. And aboard the alien ships, panic began to spread as the Galarians and their allies realized that humans might be the one species they couldn't easily control. 3 months after the aliens arrived, Earth was different. People looked up at the sky more often, some with hope, others with fear. The 4 alien ships still hung in orbit, silent and waiting. Patricia Davis walked into the United Nations building, with a thick folder under her arm. 6 weeks ago, she had been a professor of international relations. Now she was Earth's chief ambassador to extraterrestrial species, a job title that hadn't existed before October. The meeting room was already full when she arrived. Representatives from 20 countries sat around a large table. Screens on the walls showed the faces of leaders who couldn't attend in person. "The aliens are getting impatient," Patricia said as she sat down. "They're asking for an answer about their technology offers." The room was quiet for a moment. Then the Russian representative spoke up. "My scientists have studied their energy technology. It's amazing, but they're right about one thing. Once we start using it, we can't go back to our own systems. Everything would need to change." The Chinese representative nodded. "Same with their medical technology. It works with their systems or not at all." Patricia opened her folder. "That's why I've created what I'm calling the Davis Protocol. We accept nothing. That makes us dependent. We study everything they offer, but we implement nothing without years of testing, and we share all information between nations." On one of the screens, the Indian Prime Minister frowned. "The people are getting restless. They see these miraculous cures just out of reach. How do we explain saying no?" Patricia looked around the room. "We tell them the truth, that we're being careful, that independence might be more valuable than convenience." The voting was unanimous. Earth would continue to politely decline the alien gifts. Later that day, Patricia met with Zorl on neutral ground, a specially built facility in Switzerland. The room was designed to be comfortable for both species, with the temperature and lighting constantly adjusted. "Your answer is I still no," Zorl said. "It wasn't a question." "Not no forever," Patricia explained. No, for now. We need time. The alien's skin rippled with dark colors. Time for what? To continue building weapons? Our sensors detect your military activities, Ambassador Davis. Patricia didn't deny it. Just as we detect yours. Your ships have moved into a formation that looks more like a blockade than a friendly visit. The alien was silent for a moment. Your species is unique in our experience. Most welcome our help with gratitude. And become dependent on you, Patricia said calmly. Interdependence is the foundation of galactic society, Zorl replied. Patricia stood up. Perhaps, but humans value their independence quite highly. That night, Patricia couldn't sleep. She stood at her hotel window looking up at the stars. One of them moved, an alien ship changing position. Her phone rang. Ambassador, it's General Rodriguez. We've detected unusual activity. All 4 alien species are sending signals to the same point in deep space. They're calling for backup, Patricia said, suddenly cold. The next morning, 3 new ships appeared in Earth's orbit. These were different, smaller, faster, built for something other than peaceful contact. The message came an hour later. The aliens wanted to meet with Earth's leaders, all of them together. President Young insisted the meeting happen on Earth. The aliens agreed but chose the location, a remote island in the Pacific. As a show of good faith, they said, they would come with only 10 representatives. 2 days later, Patricia stood on a beach, watching alien shuttles land on the sand. Behind her, a large tent had been set up with world leaders from every major nation. The aliens emerged from their vessels. Besides the 4 species humans had already met, there were 3 new ones. A group of tall, thin beings with gray skin, small creatures with large eyes and 6 arms, and strangest of all, beings that seemed to shift and change shape as they walked. I am Zex, said one of the gray aliens, stepping forward. High Speaker for the Galactic Council. We have come to offer Earth full membership in our community of worlds. Inside the tent, the alien laid out their offer. Earth would receive all the promised technology. Humans would be protected from hostile elements in the galaxy. In exchange, Earth would allow permanent alien bases on every continent and give aliens unrestricted access to study all life forms on the planet. President Young looked at Patricia. She gave a small shake of her head. This is not an equal partnership you're offering, the president said. It sounds more like a form of control. Zex made a sharp gesture. You misunderstand. These are standard terms for new species. The benefits far outweigh any temporary discomfort. The German chancellor spoke up. And if we refuse? Then you remain isolated, Zex said. Unprotected. Alone in a dangerous galaxy. The threat wasn't stated, but everyone felt it. The meeting ended without an agreement. The aliens returned to their ships. World leaders returned to their countries, and humans everywhere prepared for what might come next. In a secured bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Patricia met with military and scientific leaders. The room was filled with maps and computer screens showing the positions of the alien ships. They're moving, said General Rodriguez, pointing to the display. Taking up positions around the planet. Cutting off escape routes, added Admiral Sharon Lee. Standard blockade pattern. Dr. Miller, who had been studying alien technology for months, cleared her throat. There's something we've been missing. Why Earth? Why now? There must be thousands of inhabited worlds. Why focus so much attention on us? Before anyone could answer, an alarm sounded. One of the screens showed a new signal coming from deep space. More ships? Asked Patricia. The technician looked confused. No, it's just one small ship, and it's not sending signals to the aliens. It's sending them to us. The message was simple. We need to talk. Not with them present. After hours of debate, President Young agreed to the meeting. The small ship landed at night, far from any city. Only Patricia, Dr. Miller, and a small security team went to meet it. The being that emerged looked nothing like the other aliens. It was shorter than a human with dark red skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. I am observer, it said in perfect English. I represent the watchkeepers. and I'm here to warn you." "About what?" Patricia asked. "About the trap you've almost avoided," Observer replied. "You were right to refuse their gifts, but now you're in danger. They've never failed before, and they don't intend to fail with Earth." Dr. Miller stepped forward. "Who are they, really? What do they want?" Observer looked at the sky, where the alien ships hung like new stars. "They are harvesters. And what they want is everything." Patricia Davis, Dr. Miller, and General Rodriguez sat in a small room with Observer, the red-skinned alien. Outside, armed guards kept watch. The meeting had been kept secret from the other aliens. "Tell us everything," Patricia said. Observer touched a device on its wrist. A 3D map of the galaxy appeared in the air between them. For over 50,000 years, the Galactic Council has pretended to be a peaceful group helping young species, Observer said. Its 4 eyes blinked in pairs. But their real purpose is to find resource-rich planets and take control of them. "Doctor," Miller leaned forward, "through technology that makes us dependent on them." "Yes. Once a planet accepts their gifts, they can never break free. The technology is designed that way. It works perfectly, but only with their systems, their control." General Rodriguez frowned. "And then what happens? First they ask for small things. Study rights, small bases, then larger requests. Soon they control your resources, your people." "Why are you telling us this?" Patricia asked. "Who are the watchkeepers?" Observer's skin darkened slightly. "We are a very old species. We were among the first victims of the Council long ago. Most of our people still serve them, but some of us escaped, watching from the shadows, trying to warn others." "And no one has ever listened before?" Dr. Miller asked. "Never. The Council's strategy is perfect. They offer exactly what each species wants most. For some, it's medicine. For others, weapons or space travel. The gifts are real and valuable. Few can resist." Patricia stood up and walked to the window. In the distance, she could see the lights of a small town. People living normal lives, unaware of how close everything was to changing. "What happens next?" she asked. "Now that we've said no." Observer made a sound like a sigh. "They will try, once more, to persuade you. If that fails, they have other methods, not open war, that would damage the resources they want. But they might cause problems on your planet. Natural disasters, disease, things that would make you desperate for their help." General Rodriguez stood up. "We need to warn everyone. Get the whole planet ready." "Carefully," Patricia cautioned. "If people panic, it could make everything worse." The next day, President Young called an emergency meeting of world leaders. This time, they gathered virtually, afraid the aliens might be watching their movements. Observer's warning was shared with every nation. Some leaders were skeptical, but most believed it. The alien blockade was growing tighter each day. 7 more ships had arrived, taking positions around the planet. "We need to prepare for the worst," said the Russian president. "But we cannot let them know we suspect them." "A difficult balance," agreed the Chinese leader. "We must seem open to more talks while making secret preparations." Karen West, a linguist who had been studying alien languages, raised her hand. "I have an idea. The aliens communicate with each other using light pulses our eyes can't see. But we've developed sensors that can detect them. If we could plant these sensors near their embassies, we might learn their real plans." President Young nodded. "Do it, but be extremely careful." 2 days later, Karen sat in a dark room surrounded by computers. She had managed to place sensors near the Alduvai embassy in Washington. Now she watched as patterns of light were translated into alien language. "They're planning something," she said to Patricia, who stood behind her. "Something big. 3 days from now?" "What exactly?" Karen shook her head. "I'm not sure. The translation is rough, but they keep using a word that might mean demonstration or lesson." "They're going to show us what they can do," Patricia said grimly. "Try to scare us into accepting their terms." Around the world, nations secretly prepared. Military forces were put on alert. Emergency supplies were distributed. Scientists worked around the clock to understand alien technology without depending on it. 3 days later, it began. First, communication systems started failing. Cell phones, internet, TV broadcasts. Then power grids went down in major cities. Finally, strange weather patterns formed, storms that appeared from nowhere, earthquakes in places that never had them before. In the White House Situation Room, President Young watched the reports come in. "They're showing us what they can do," he said, trying to create panic. Patricia nodded. "The question is, how do we respond?" "We stay calm," the president replied. "We show them that humans aren't easily frightened." All over the world, people came together instead of falling apart. Neighbors helped neighbors. Countries shared resources. In the face of alien pressure, humanity showed unexpected unity. A week into the crisis, Zorel requested another meeting with Patricia. They met in the same neutral building in Switzerland. But this time, Patricia brought General Rodriguez and Karen. "West with her. Your planet suffers," Zorel said. "Its skin pulsed with colors. We can help. We can stop the disasters. Fix your power systems. Make everything better." Patricia looked the alien in its large, pupil-less eyes. "In exchange for what?" "The same terms as before. Accept our technology, allow our bases, give us study rights." Patricia smiled slightly. "And if we continue to say no?" The alien's colors darkened. "Things will get worse, much worse. We can control your weather systems completely. Cause floods, droughts. We can shut down all your technology. How long will your unity last when children are hungry? When cities are dark?" Karen had been watching Zorel carefully. Now she leaned over and whispered to Patricia, "It's worried. They expected us to break by now." Patricia turned back to the alien. "We have a counteroffer. Remove your ships from Earth orbit, end these attacks on our systems. Then we can discuss limited cultural exchange. Nothing technological." "Impossible," Zorel said immediately. "Then, we have nothing more to discuss today," Patricia replied, standing up. As they left the building, General Rodriguez looked troubled. "They won't give up. This will escalate." "I know," Patricia said. "But neither will we. And we have something they don't expect." "What's that?" Karen asked. "Help," Patricia said, looking up at the sky. "Observer isn't the only watchkeeper who wants to see the council fail, and they've been sharing some technology of their own with us. Technology the council doesn't know about." In a secret facility deep underground, Dr. Miller was working with a team of scientists and 3 watchkeeper aliens. They were building something that looked like a satellite. "Is it ready?" Patricia asked as she entered the lab. Dr. Miller nodded. "Almost. When deployed, it should disrupt their ability to control our weather and communication systems, but it's a temporary solution at best." "It buys us time," Patricia said. "And right now, that's what we need most." That night, as Patricia looked up at the stars from her office window, she thought about the strange path that had led her here. From professor to diplomat, to the person helping lead Earth's resistance against alien control. Her phone rang. "Ambassador Davis," said a voice she recognized as belonging to the French president. "You need to see this. The alien ships are moving." Patricia turned on her computer. Satellite images showed the alien vessels changing position, forming a tight circle above the United Nations building in New York. "What are they doing?" she whispered. The answer came moments later, in a message broadcast to every screen on the planet. "People of Earth," said Zex, the gray alien who spoke for the Galactic Council. "Your leaders have rejected our friendship. Now you will see the cost of their pride." Every screen on Earth showed the same image. Zex, the gray alien, standing in what looked like a command center. Behind him, other aliens worked at strange controls. "People of Earth," Zex said again, "your leaders have hidden the truth from you. We offered gifts, health, long life, clean energy, travel to the stars. They refused everything. Now you suffer for their pride." The image changed to show scenes of the disasters happening around the world. Storms, power outages, food shortages. "This can end today," Zex continued. "Tell your leaders to accept our help. Tell them to stop fighting what is best for your world." In the White House Situation Room, President Young watched with a grim face. "They're trying to turn people against us." Patricia nodded. It might work. People are scared. What's our next move? Asked General Rodriguez. Before anyone could answer, Karen West rushed into the room. We intercepted more of their communications. They're planning something big at the United Nations building. Some kind of demonstration of power. How long do we have? The president asked. Hours, maybe less. President Young stood up. Evacuate the UN building and the surrounding area. Get as many people out as possible. And the countermeasure? Patricia asked Dr. Miller, who had joined them through a video call. It's ready, but we only have one. If we use it and it fails, we have nothing else. The president looked around the room. Options? General Rodriguez spoke first. Military response. We have weapons that might damage their ships. And start a war we can't win, Patricia said. Even with the Watchkeeper's help, we're outmatched. What if we pretend to negotiate? Karen suggested. Buy time to get more people to safety? The president nodded. Do it. Ambassador Davis, contact Zorel. Tell him we're ready to discuss their terms. An hour later, Patricia sat across from Zorel in a hastily arranged meeting room at the UN. Most of the building had been evacuated, but a small team remained with her. You are ready to be reasonable, Zorel said. Its skin was bright with swirling colors. We want to discuss modifications to your proposal, Patricia said calmly. We might accept some technology, but we need guarantees of our independence. Zorel made a gesture that might have been satisfaction. This is progress. What specific technologies interest you first? As Patricia kept the alien talking, Karen West sat in a small room nearby, monitoring alien communications. Dr. Miller and her team were on standby with the countermeasure device, and all around the UN building, Special Forces teams moved quietly into position. They're not buying it, Karen whispered into her radio. They're still preparing their demonstration. Energy readings are increasing in their main ship. In the meeting room. Patricia's phone buzzed silently. She glanced at it, seeing Karen's message. Time was running out. We're particularly interested in your medical technology, she said to Zorel, stalling. But we need to understand more about how it works with your other systems. All will be explained once you accept our offer, Zorel replied. But first, a sign of good faith from you is required. You must allow us to establish bases, immediately. Patricia shook her head. That's not possible without further discussion. Our leaders need time to, Zorel cut her off with a sharp motion. No more delays, no more games. You humans think you are clever, playing for time. But your time has run out. The alien touched a device on its wrist. The lights in the room flickered. What are you doing? Patricia asked, standing up. Showing your people who truly has power, Zorel replied. Watch. Outside, the sky above New York darkened. The alien ships pulsed with light. Then a beam of energy shot down from the largest vessel, striking the ground near the UN building. The earth shook, windows shattered, but no one was hurt. A demonstration only, Zorel said. Next time we will not be so gentle. Patricia's phone buzzed again. A message from the president. Now. She looked Zorel directly in its strange eyes. We have a demonstration of our own. That moment, Dr. Miller activated the device the Watchkeepers had helped them build. A pulse of invisible energy spread out from their secret facility. The lights flickered, then went out completely. When emergency power came on seconds later, Zorel was frantically tapping its wrist device. Nothing happened. What have you done? The alien demanded. Cut your connection to your ships, Patricia said. Temporarily, at least. The Watchkeepers have been very helpful. Zorel's skin turned almost black. You know about the Watchkeepers? We know everything, Patricia bluffed. About the Council, about how you use technology to control and eventually strip mine planets, about how you've done this hundreds of times before. The alien backed away from her. This changes nothing. You cannot resist forever. When communications are restored, your demonstration will be answered with real power. Maybe, Patricia agreed. But now your council knows something important. Humans aren't like the other species you've conquered. We don't accept gifts without understanding the cost. Outside, the alien ships were moving erratically, their lights dimming and brightening in uneven patterns. Without guidance from the ground, their systems were confused. Patricia's phone rang. It was President Young. "The watchkeepers say we have about 30 minutes before they restore communications," he said. "We've evacuated as many people as possible, from major cities. What's your assessment?" Patricia looked at Zoril, who stood silently watching her. "They'll retaliate. Hard. We need to be ready." "We have one more card to play," the president said. "Observer and the other watchkeepers have been working on something bigger than the disruption device. They call it a beacon." "What does it do?" "Calls for help. In orbit above Earth, a small satellite built with watchkeeper technology separated from its launch vehicle. It began broadcasting a signal unlike anything humans had created before, a message sent at speeds faster than light, directed toward a distant part of the galaxy." Back in the UN building, Zoril suddenly stiffened. Other aliens rushed into the your room, their movements agitated. "What have you done?" Zoril demanded again. Before Patricia could answer, a new alarm sounded from the aliens' devices. They looked at each other with what seemed like fear. "They're coming," one of the other aliens said. "Who's coming?" Patricia asked. Zoril didn't answer. Instead, all the aliens rushed from the room. Patricia's phone rang again. It was Karen. "Something's happening," Karen said, her voice tense with excitement. "The alien ships are breaking formation. Some are leaving orbit. They look like they're running away." "From what?" "Unknown. But our deep space monitors just picked up something big entering the solar system. Really big." Patricia walked to the window and looked up at the sky. The alien ships were visible now, bright points of light moving rapidly against the darkening evening sky. "Running away." "Get me Observer," she said into her phone. "I need to know who answers a watchkeeper beacon." Observer's voice came through, moments later. "They are called the Guardians. They are very old, very powerful, and very angry at what the Council has done to countless worlds." "Are they friends?" Patricia asked. "They are justice," Observer replied. "And they have been waiting a very long time for someone like you." Patricia Davis stood in the observation room at the top of the rebuilt United Nations building. Through the large windows, she could see the night sky filled with stars, but 7 of those lights were not stars. They were ships that had arrived 3 days ago and now hung silently above Earth. "The Guardians have requested another meeting," said Frank Cooper, her assistant. "Same time, same place." Patricia nodded. 2 years had passed since the day the Council ships fled. 2 years of rebuilding. 2 years of learning the truth about humanity's place in the galaxy. "Is Observer coming?" she asked. "Yes. He says there's news from other worlds." Patricia checked her watch. She had 1 hour before the meeting. Time enough to prepare and remember how they had reached this point. After the Council ships ran away, the Guardian vessels arrived. They were unlike anything humans had seen before, huge structures of light and metal that seemed to bend reality around them. Their first message was simple: "We come to help, not harm." The Guardians explained that they were among the oldest species in the galaxy. Long ago, they had created the Galactic Council as a way for younger species to work together. But over time, the Council had become corrupt. They began to use their advanced technology to control other worlds instead of helping them. The Guardians had watched with growing concern, but could not interfere without proof. The Watchkeepers had been gathering evidence for thousands of years, but they needed one thing more: a species that recognized the trap and rejected it completely. That species was humanity. Now, Patricia entered the meeting room where representatives from Earth sat on one side of a large table. On the other side were 3 Guardians, tall beings made of what looked like golden light in roughly human shape, and Observer, who had become Earth's closest ally among the alien species. "Thank you for coming," said the lead Guardian, whose name sounded like music when spoken in their language. Humans called her Harmony. "We have news that concerns Earth." Patricia sat down. "Good news or bad news?" "Both," said Observer, his four eyes blinking in sequence. The council has been reformed. Many corrupt leaders have been removed. Some worlds that were under control have been freed. And the bad news? Asked President Young, who sat beside Patricia. Some council members refuse to accept the changes, Harmony said. They have formed a rebel faction. They are angry at humans for starting this transformation. Are we in danger? Patricia asked directly. Observer shook his head. Not immediately. The Guardian ships protect Earth now. But in the future, when you begin to explore space, you may face hostility. General Rodriguez, who had become Earth's defense coordinator, leaned forward. Then we need to be ready. We need technology that doesn't make us dependent on anyone else. Harmony made a gesture that humans had learned meant agreement. That is why we are here today. To offer a different kind of help, knowledge freely given, with no hidden controls. How is that different from what the Council offered? President Young asked. The Council gave finished technology that you could not recreate or understand. Observer explained. We offer knowledge that lets you build your own technology. The difference between giving a person fish and teaching them to fish. Patricia smiled at the Earth saying coming from an alien mouth. And what do you want in return? A fair question, Harmony said. We want Earth to join a new alliance. Not as subjects or clients, but as equals. Your world has something rare in the galaxy. What's that? Patricia asked. Healthy suspicion, said Observer with what might have been a smile. Most species are so eager for advancement that they never question the cost. Humans demanded to know the price before accepting any gift. That wisdom is valuable. The meeting continued for hours. Plans were made. Agreements were drafted. By the end, Earth had taken its first steps toward joining a truly equal galactic community. Later that night, Patricia stood on the roof of the building, looking up at the stars again. Observer joined her, his small red form barely visible in the darkness. You're thinking about Zorl, Observer said. It wasn't a question. Patricia nodded. I wonder what happened to them. The former council members were given a choice: help, repair the damage they caused, or lose their technology and return to their homeworlds. Most chose to help. And Zorl? Chose to help. The Galarians were not evil, just part of a corrupt system for too long. They forgot that real friendship cannot be built on dependency. Patricia thought about how close Earth had come to falling into that trap. If Jack Wilson hadn't been suspicious from the very beginning, if humans hadn't valued their independence so strongly, everything might have been different. What happens now? She asked. Now, your scientists learn, your people prepare, and in time human ships will join others among the stars. Will we be welcome? Observer made a sound that Patricia had learned was laughter. Not by everyone. You've made powerful enemies, but you've made powerful friends too. And the galaxy has learned that humans are not easily fooled or controlled. 6 months later, the first human ship built with Guardian knowledge rose from Earth. It was small compared to alien vessels, but it was entirely human-made. Its name was painted in large letters on the side. Independence. Commander Linda Baker sat in the captain's chair. Around her, the bridge crew worked at their stations, preparing for their first jump to another star. All systems ready, Commander, said her first officer, Steve Harris. Linda nodded. Send the message to Earth Control. Steve pressed a button on his console. Earth Control, this is Independence. We are ready for departure. Patricia's voice came through the speakers. Independence, you are cleared for departure. Make us proud. Linda looked at the view screen, where Earth grew smaller, as they moved away. We will. Independence out. She turned to her navigation officer. Set course for the Watchkeeper homeworld. Let's go meet our new allies properly. As the ship's engines powered up, Linda thought about how strange the path had been. Earth had rejected every offer of peace from the Council, not because humans wanted war, but because they recognized that real peace couldn't be built on control and dependency. By saying no to a false peace, they had found their way to a real one. Jump drive engaged, reported the engineer. The stars on the view screen stretched into lines of light. Then Independence, the first human starship, leapt into the unknown, carrying with it humanity's greatest strength, the wisdom to question, the courage to refuse, and the determination to find their own path among the stars.